I made it to UBUD. Here's my room that's not made up, but really nice space. Plenty of room to get work done. Here is my balcony. The nice pool. Good morning. It's officially, well, 6:30 a.m. in UBUD, and it's officially my first day, work day here. So I'm up bright and early because of jet lag, and soon I will be heading to Outpost, which is the co-working space where I will be working from for the month. So I'm excited for coffee, I'm excited to see it, and in the meantime, let's listen to the relaxing sounds of the roosters. It's 8 a.m. and all of these Instagram influencers are decked out, ready to go to the Bali swing.
Thank you. Yeah, have a good day. Yeah, you too. Yeah, thank you.
I am here at Outpost today, and I actually rented a private office so that I could do a live stream uninterrupted. So I've got about 5 minutes till I'm going to be live with the students inside my course, Instagrowth Boss. But I want to show you what my setup looks like. I try to replicate my home office setup as much as possible. So there we have my lovely view of the roads of UBUD. And then here's my setup. So I have my laptop, which I brought, and then I rented this second screen because I like to have two screens when I'm live streaming, my phone, and then of course, all the essentials in my purse. So that is my office for today in UBUD.
So my name is Fido. I'm the events manager here at UBUD. Also, they can always come to me.
It's pretty loud, but I just completed my first night ride on my scooter by myself. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was a 5-minute ride. Got used to traffic, got used to the lights going in your face. So far so good. I think I can get used to driving here in Bali all by myself. Well, my last day in Bali is here. I've got about an hour until I head to the airport, and the month flew by. It went by really fast, but it was a complete trip. You know, I'm gonna miss Bali and I hope to be back soon, but it was a full experience and I'm kind of ready to move on to the next leg. So I just wanted to share a few of my top memories that I will really hold closely from this trip. Number one, the first memory is when I went back to see Kutut Jaya, who is a healer that I met on my first trip to Bali 3 years ago. And I met him at a time when I was looking for a Balinese healer experience. I had had a bad experience with the healer who was featured in that book, Eat, Pray, Love, the woman who was featured in the book. So I was already a little wary, but when I met Kutut 3 years ago, he helped, well, A, fix this strained muscle I had in my neck. The tension just dissipated after I saw him. But I was also seeking some sort of emotional guidance too. So he went through this really interesting ceremony. There was a prayer involved. It seemed like a lot of energy work that he was doing above my body, and then there was reflexology too. So we've been friends on Facebook ever since then. He's been keeping up with my travels and my business, and coming back to Bali, I made sure to message him. And I went to his house to see him again, and he was really sweet. It was really nice to see him again. He's told me he was proud of me from what I've accomplished over the last 3 years, and yeah, we had a energy session, I suppose. So basically I laid on, it's kind of like a massage table. It was a no-touch experience. He was doing things above my body with his hands. He was humming, chanting. There was drumming. He had me doing a lot of deep breathing, and it was just the craziest experience. incense was burning. So it's kind of like all your senses are alive. You're physically taking in really deep breaths. You're smelling the incense, you're hearing his singing and you're laying on the table. And I mean, I had my eyes open, but this didn't happen to me last time, but this energy just started buzzing in my body. Like my hands felt like they were vibrating, like there was electricity running through them. And 20-30 minutes in, after doing this heavy breathing, while this experience was kind of getting more and more intense, I could feel the buzzing throughout my legs into my feet. I remember moving my feet up and down just to feel like they're still working. Towards the end of this session, my hands had gotten so stiff. My hands were frozen in this position, like this. Like my thumb muscle was totally flexed and tight, and my thumb was just stuck to my index finger. And it took a good 20-30 minutes before the tension just released and I could use my hands again. I was genuinely worried that I wouldn't be able to ride my scooter back to the villa. So that was a crazy energy experience, because clearly something was going on in my body to make me feel that throughout my limbs and for my hands to freeze up. But it's just such a mind trip because you can't see it. You can't see what's going on. So that was a really cool experience. It was really nice to see Ketut again, and also have a totally different energy clearing, healing experience as well. So that was a memory I will definitely remember for a long time. Another memory that I will definitely remember about my trip to Bali is the eruption of Mount Agung. So months leading up to my trip in September, October, there were warnings, there were news stories about the volcano on Bali erupting or preparing for eruption, but I decided I was still gonna come. You know, nothing had happened at that point, so I decided I was still gonna come for the trip. Well, wouldn't you know, my last week in Bali, on the weekend, I wake up to the news. I'm in Uluwatu at the time, but I wake up to all this news on my phone and all these messages of people asking me if I'm okay, because the volcano actually erupted to the point where there was a massive ash cloud in the air. Initially I wasn't too concerned because I just thought, oh well, you know, it doesn't look like a lava eruption. But as I came to learn, the ash cloud was big enough that it canceled flights and it shut the airport down for 2.5 days. I was pretty chill about it initially. I was very intrigued by the volcano. In fact, one morning we got up at 4:30 in the morning and we drove on our scooters for an hour to actually drive closer to the volcano to see it live erupting with my own eyes. So that was really cool. But by day 3, with the airport being closed, I started to freak out and I started to shift my flight around and come up with a plan B so that I could get to another airport on a neighboring island. Well, today I'm scheduled to fly out, so fingers crossed that it actually does happen. A few more hours and I'll know whether I'm going to be on my way to Vancouver. So all in all, the volcano was just such a cool sight to see. And it was really interesting to see the media headlines and how they were exaggerating what was going on, because as a tourist here in Bali, we were completely safe, totally fine here in UBUD. Yes, we had face masks, but I think just the first day or two after the eruption was when we really needed them. So it was really interesting to be here, to see it actually happen, to see the volcano, and now I'm glad that my flight is scheduled to fly out of Bali. Lastly, I'm really going to remember the group of people that I traveled with here in Bali with Find Your Pack. This was my first trip where it was really organized with a group of people. You know, accommodation, co-working was taken care of for me. I didn't have to think about those sort of logistics. Michelle took care of all those details. But beyond that, it was really cool to be able to meet people the first day and get to know people really quickly, and then just have them be as friends available for the trip. It's different when I've traveled on my own before and then I go to a co-working space and I slowly, gradually meet people and I see who I connect with, and then maybe like 2 weeks into my trip I'll hang out with them some more. But with Pack, it really had that network built in, so that was really valuable because I didn't have to worry about if I was going to go to dinner by myself or not, or you know, who I could chat about Photoshop or Lightroom with. I learned a lot from the people who were on this trip with me. Cryptocurrency was a big topic we talked about, as well as Instagram marketing. A lot of the people on this trip are travel bloggers, so I really got to see an inside look as to the life of a travel blogger, because I don't call myself one. I don't think I am one. I never blog about travel, but it was really interesting to see the hustle of travel bloggers to make this an actual business for themselves. And I know this is going to affect and change my own trainings and teachings for other people going forward, those who are going down the travel blogger path, of how I can help them grow a business even faster based on everything I've learned here from working with Find Your Pack. So that was a really sweet experience. We got to stay in an amazing villa here in UBUD. Because the villa was outside of town, I actually did something that I thought I would never do. I learned how to ride a scooter bike in Bali. The scooter bike itself is not that hard, but what's intimidating is the traffic, especially in town, because the local drivers are just so much more comfortable on a bike, and you don't want to be that stupid tourist, like unsure about traffic and holding traffic up or driving on the wrong side of the road. But after 3-4 weeks of riding that scooter bike, I finally feel comfortable, and I'm really, really glad that I learned that skill, because now going back to the city, I really want to get my motorcycle license or get a Vespa. So I'm ready to keep that going. I really enjoyed having the bike as a mode of transportation, so that was really cool. To take on that challenge, learn something new, learn how to drive in Indonesia, feel comfortable about it, and keep myself alive. I was really wary about taking other people on my bike with me, because I could just handle driving myself around. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. So that's my wrap up on my trip to Bali. I've got 20 more minutes. I gotta finish packing up this room here and then head to the airport. In Bali, they say you have to go to the airport 5 hours before your trip or your flight because of traffic and because who knows what's going on at the airport. So I gotta pack, gotta go. I'll talk to you later.